And this moment is a special moment, because at this moment there is the potential that exists within our students to spread this change and to bring about a happiness revolution. A peaceful revolution that will increase levels of well-being around the world. A revolution that will generate not just more well-being, not just more happiness, but also more health and more goodness, more generosity, more kindness. This is about making the world a better place. This is about making a meaningful difference. And when I think about it, I know that this is the moment. Right now, right here, together.
Hello and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good middle of the night, wherever you are, whenever you are. We'd love to hear from you in the chat, where you are from. Wow, so we have people from someone from Colombia, Mexico, Italy, Oregon, Chile, Buenos Aires, Israel, Portugal, Germany, Australia. Well, what time is it there? Italy, amazing. Greece. Great to have you here. Delighted. You know, so on Thursdays today, I teach my two webinars. One is in the part of the certificate in happiness studies. The other is in the master's in happiness studies. And I'm always elevated as a result of these webinars, these conversations, for various reasons. One reason is because we do have students from Ukraine and Russia and Brazil and India and Serbia and all the countries and Mexico, Argentina, Israel, US, China, Vietnam, from all these countries. And it's always elevating to be together in a community that so much captures what our global village can be like, a community of like-hearted and like-minded individuals coming together. I'm also elevated for another reason, and that is that has to do with the field of happiness studies. So, you know, just today in the certificate in happiness studies session, I was asked by one of our students to talk a little bit about the difference between the different terms being used to describe the field, because you know, sometimes people talk about positive psychology, and sometimes people talk about the science of happiness, and then we talk about happiness studies as well as positive psychology and the science of happiness, or the science of well-being. You know, how do they how are they connected or disconnected from each other? And if I had to create a precise definition, they're often used interchangeably, but a precise definition would be that here you have positive psychology, and this is the field of psychology that focuses on things at work, that focuses on happiness and joy and love, but that is within the field of psychology. Above it, including the field of psychology, you have the science of happiness. And the science of happiness includes positive psychology, and it also includes economics, which is also a social science. And it includes physiology and biology and neuroscience. And all these sciences together bear light on the question of happiness. And then above it, you would have happiness studies that includes all the sciences that are part of the science of happiness, and of course includes positive psychology. And in addition, it also includes philosophy and theology and literature and film and history and all these areas in addition to the sciences and positive psychology, and what light they can shed on the question of happiness, or specifically on two questions. How can I help myself become happier? How can I do the same for others? So in many ways, happiness studies is more inclusive. And to talk about, as we do at every webinar, every class, to talk about the latest and most important ideas in neuroscience and positive psychology, and to travel back in times to Aristotle, Lao Tzu, or Helen Keller, that's elevating, that's exciting, that's interesting, and that makes a difference in our lives, in people's lives. And one of the topics that very much captures the essence of what happiness studies is about in terms of its scope is the topic of meaning and purpose. And what I want to do today is just very briefly share with you some thoughts, some ideas from the field of happiness studies that relate to meaning and purpose. And what we'll do afterwards is talk more specifically about the certificate in happiness studies. And we'll talk more specifically about the questions that you have. So we'll open it up for questions. I will invite Yuval Kutz, who's the president of HSA, to give a very brief presentation about the certificate and then answer your questions. But let me begin with a few words about meaning and purpose in the context of the field of happiness studies. And for that, I want to take you back to 1881, so 152 years ago, when a very important book was published by the name of The Gay Science by Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher, in that book wrote the sentence that would become associated with his name. What Nietzsche wrote, this was 1881. He wrote, "God is dead, and we've killed him." Now, when people quote Nietzsche, they often quote him as if he said it with much bravado, with much excitement. In other words, this is the end of religion. We have conquered religion. Now is the age of science, and we'll live happily ever after. But actually, if you look at the context in that book, The Gay Science, if you look at the context, you realize that Nietzsche, while he himself was not, at least not declared as, a religious man, he said that with much sadness, and even more than sadness, with much concern. God is dead. We have killed him. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do about this emptiness that God's death, that the end of religion has brought to the world? What meaning, what purpose are people going to find in their lives? Fast forward to 1947. Viktor Frankl, who had just survived the death camp at Auschwitz 2 years after the end of World War II, published his book, Man's Search for Meaning, where he talked about the existential vacuum that existed and continues to exist in the world. The existential vacuum, meaning people lack a sense of meaning and purpose in their lives. I want to fast forward to a French author, a philosopher, Albert Camus, one of the fathers of the existentialist movement within philosophy, who wrote a very famous essay on the myth of Sisyphus, going back to ancient Greek mythology. And in the myth of Sisyphus, he writes about how we must imagine Sisyphus happy. But in another context, he also said the following. He said, at every moment in my life, I have to decide. That is what Albert Camus said. At every moment in my life, I have to decide, do I drink a cup of coffee or do I kill myself? Do I drink a cup of coffee or do I kill myself? In other words, does my life have any meaning whatsoever, or is it just a waste? So this is the world that Nietzsche predicted back in 1881 when he said, God is dead and we've killed him. Not a happy world. And again, he himself was not religious. It's not that he said we need to become religious again. But he did say, Houston, we have a problem. Fast forward 2009, a book by Stanford professor William Damon called The Path to Purpose, talking about this emptiness that most people in our world are experiencing, this lack of meaning, where we are. So many of us are what he called drifters. We just drift without a real sense of direction, meaning, purpose. So starting 1881 with Nietzsche, fast forwarding to Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, Albert Camus, the existentialist, and then we have the psychologist, William Damon, talking about the same phenomenon. This is the journey from philosophy to psychology to theology, which is related to it. Bring together these fields to ask the question, how can we find meaning and purpose in our life? How can we get rid of the emptiness that so many of us feel? How can we help our children, our clients, our partner, our students, our employees in the organization find a sense of meaning and purpose in their life? And this field of happiness study provides an answer, or rather answers, to these very important, compelling questions. I'm going to share with you one study that we talk about in our certificate program, of course, as part of the master's degree. One study that bears some light and attempts to be an antidote to the phenomenon that Nietzsche and later others described. This is a study conducted by two researchers, Amy Wisniewski and Jane Dutton. Both of them were at Michigan. Now, Amy Wisniewski is at Yale University. Two psychologists who showed through their research that people in different professions usually fall into three separate buckets, three separate silos, three different orientations when it comes to how they perceive their work. First, there are those who perceive their work as a job. A job is something that I have to do. I have no choice about it. Why am I doing it? Because I need the paycheck. I need to feed myself, my family. It's a chore. It's an obligation. What do I look forward to in a job? I look forward to the end of the day, or the end of the shift, or the weekend, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. That's the motto of a person in a job. Then there are people who see their work as a career. A career is all about progress. If I look forward to Friday, when I see my work as a job, I look forward to a promotion, to a raise when I see my work as a career. That's what it's about. It's about being promoted, going to the next level. It's the rat race. Faster, higher, stronger, better. And then there are people who see their work primarily as a calling. Calling is about a sense of meaning and purpose. It's about doing something that is important to me, valuable, that I care about. It's something that I would do anyway, even if I wasn't paid. I'm glad I'm paid for it, but I would do it anyway. That's what a person with a strong sense of calling experiences. Now, the interesting thing about this research is that whether we perceive our work as a job or a career or a calling, whether we fall into the job silo or the career or the calling silo, what matters most is our perception of it, more so than the work itself. So, for example, in the research, they showed that there are janitors in hospitals. Hospitals were their first research field. Janitors in hospitals, cleaners. There are some cleaners who see their work as a job. There are cleaners in the same hospital doing the exact same thing who see their work primarily as a career. And then there are those who are doing the exact same thing, cleaning the hospital, the floors, the toilets, the beds, who see their work as a calling, something that matters, that is important. They experience a sense of meaning and purpose in their work. So it's not the objective circumstances of that work. It's rather much more the subjective interpretation of their work. And the exact same phenomenon we find among doctors in those same hospitals. And we find the exact same phenomenon among business people. Some of them see the work as a job. You know, it's something I have to do. I know how to do it, so I'm doing it. Pays the bills. Or as a career, I'm all about getting to the next level, making more money, rising up in the hierarchy. And then there are business people who see their work as a calling, as meaningful, as important. They're making a difference in their lives, in the world. Parenting can be a job. I'm doing it because I have to, I have to take care of those kids, take them through the bedtime routine. My obligation. I brought them to the world. Versus a career, it's all about helping them succeed. So I'm going to read to them so that they become smarter and better and more and get into this school and make this money. Parenting is a career. And then there are parents who see their work as parents, as a calling. This is meaningful. This is important. What a privilege it is to be spending time with people I care about. Hairdressers. Some see themselves as doing a job. Others as a career. For some, it's a calling. And it turns out that whether we see our work as a job, career, or calling, again, primarily, not all the time, because we all fall into one of these silos some of the time. But if we primarily can learn to see our work as a calling, that can make a huge difference on our happiness levels, of course, and on how successful we are at our work as parents, as business people, as medical doctors. It doesn't matter, as teachers. What a difference it can make. And we also live longer when we have a strong sense of meaning and purpose. And the interesting thing about this, again, going back to 1881, or if you will, going back to a discussion of meaning and purpose that Confucius talked about 2,500 years ago, or Aristotle, or to a discussion from Marianne Evans and Helen Keller, 19th and early 20th century. The answer to their questions lie in this research. This is how we can fill the vacuum that so many people feel inside. This is how we can make the decision to have a cup of coffee and more, to live life to its fullest. And very often, not always, but very often, the science of happiness, whether it's positive psychology, whether it's neuroscience, whether it's economics or biology, very often these sciences have answers to philosophical and sometimes even theological questions that are asked as part of the field of happiness studies. And that's exciting. That's elevating. Okay, I will leave it here, and we're going to open it up for your questions. And by the way, you can ask questions about what I just said or any other question. If we don't know, we'll just say that we don't. So any question is fair game. And but before that, I would like to show you a brief video where you'll see Yuval Kutz, the president of the Happiness Studies Academy, my co-founder. And he'll talk a little bit about what the certificate in happiness studies is all about. And again, then we'll have time for your questions about the certificate, about meaning and purpose, about any topic you wish to ask us about. So without further ado, here is Yuval Kutz.
Hi everyone. The Certificate in Happiness Studies is a year-long program. The program is offered in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, Chinese, and Hebrew. It is composed of 2 parts, both about the same length. The first is called Introduction to Happiness Studies, and the second is called Facilitating Happiness. While the first part focuses on theory, although it has some practice in it, the second part relies more about applied techniques, although it has some theory in it. This is an interdisciplinary journey in which we will learn the relationship between not just positive psychology, but also literature, art, science, and other fields related to happiness. The entire program has a weekly structure with the following components. First of all students in the same cohort starts off at the same day. And every week you receive access to 4 15 minutes pre-recorded lectures. Altogether, 1 hour. All of the lectures are delivered by Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. You can watch these lectures at your convenience. It's online, and they will always be available for you to go back and watch again. Every week, students are invited to join a 1-hour live webinar with Tal, in which they can discuss happiness, the topics of the course, and their personal lives directly with Tal. Last but not least, all students get access to their personal life journal. The life journal is a weekly follow-up to the lessons with additional exercises, extra readings, videos, journaling, meditations, yoga, and much more. You get lifetime access to this life journal, which holds the most comprehensive bibliography of research and material about happiness out there today. Actually, you're getting lifetime access to us as well. As HSA alums, you will get your Certified Happiness Trainer certificate, invitations to our annual gatherings, support from HSA faculty and the entire community. It is extremely important for us to give you all the tools needed to pursue a career and work in this field. I would like to thank you for taking the time today and for the interest you're showing in this program.
And now with us live is Yuval. How are you doing?
Hi, Tal. How are you? Hi, everyone. So good to be here. Always embarrassing to see yourself on video. You always sound different than you think. And when you were talking just now, it struck me. Here's a nice thought. Throughout the years that we've been doing this, the past 6 years that the certificate program has been running, we are now about to open, I think, the 16th cohort. Throughout those years, many of our students we became familiar with. Some of them through Zoom, but week after week after week came a community, and a lot of them in person through our get-togethers and retreats that we do worldwide. And some of them became real friends, some of them of mine, some of yours, and between themselves. So the nice thought is, in this group now, I looked at some faces that I saw that opened their camera, and we have some friends here that don't know that they are going to be friends between themselves or with us, and that is statistically for sure going to happen.
Yeah.
So that was my thought. I don't know. You talked about meaning and purpose, but that was my thought. So I'm really, really happy to be here, and I'm always happy to make new friends. And we are open for any question about the certificate or about happiness or about anything in general. Whatever comes to mind is okay. I saw already in the chat a few questions. One of them was, the first question was right at the first minute that you started talking. Someone asked, when is the last day to enroll for the June course? So we do open the certificate program 3 times a year: February, June, and October. So the next course will open in June. This time it's June 6th. The last day to join is June 6th. Having said, you can join at the last minute. Having said that, we do encourage you to join before for 2 reasons. One, we don't want to be anxious. We want to know who our new friends are going to be. And so if you decided, that would be great. And the second reason is that for this, and in order that for us not to be anxious, what we're going to do is throughout for the participant of this webinar, we will have a special discount. So you can apply that in the next 48 hours. It will be published in the chat, and you will get it in the email. It's a coupon code that you can use while you enroll. It says live webinar is the code. Once you use that, you get the live 500. Sorry, it's already in the chat. Live 500, then you get a $500 discount. So if you use that, then you will join us in the next 48 hours. And Tal, back to you with questions, maybe.
Yes, just one thing before we continue. So first of all, if you have questions and you want to ask us, just put your hand up, meaning go to the bottom under reactions and just, raise your hand like this. So, and then we'll call on you and you can ask questions live, or you can ask it through the chat. But before we go to the questions, Yuval, you were talking about friendships, and obviously you're spot on there. And you may remember in our last retreat, which was in Italy, in Lake Como, it suddenly dawned on me, and I said to our to the students, I said, the content that you will study, that you will be exposed to as part of the Happiness Studies Academy, it really is amazing. I mean, you can't go wrong when you talk about Nietzsche and Helen Keller and Aristotle and Lao Tzu and Marty Seligman and Sonia Lyubomirsky. You just can't go wrong. It's fantastic material, important material, applied material. Having said that, it's not the most important part of the Happiness Studies Academy. The most important part of the Happiness Studies Academy of the experience is the community that is formed. And whether it's the online community or the face-to-face, in-person community that's formed by the students themselves or with us, there's just no substitute for that. And that's especially relevant today. Those of you from the United States and or maybe others follow US politics, but the Surgeon General, the number one person in medicine in the United States, last week talked about the pandemic of loneliness that is upon us. And again, it's not just in North America. It's becoming more and more pervasive around the world. And what's the antidote to the pandemic of loneliness? Community. Those relationships, those friendships that form organically and naturally when we just create the right environment.
And yes, throughout the first year of the certificate, you will go through a lot of new theory and methodology that Tal developed, which is called the SPIRE elements of well-being. Those are spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. And we will go in depth to each of those elements with pre-recorded videos, as I said before, and with exercises. And this is not just theory, and also you will learn applied techniques. One of the questions, I will take a few questions from the chat. Those are very quick. Do we have live meetings, and in what city? Then the answer is yes, we have live meetings about once a month. Tal is traveling worldwide, and wherever he goes to give lectures or meetings or any of his activities, there are always a get-together within that city. We had get-togethers in France and Italy and Australia and Canada and the United States, of course, and Israel. And I probably forgot a few. Additionally, twice a year we have retreats. Those are a few days overnight, or sometimes it's 3 or 4 days that we all of the community get together, and we have lectures, we have travel, we see the local scenery. Together we dance, we drink, we talk, we mingle, and we learn. And this is conducting workshops and having time to know each other. So this is happening. And again, what city? It varies and it changes, and we try to get everywhere. This year we were in Acumal, Mexico. We were in Lake Como, Italy. We are about to go to, and still happening this year, Vancouver, Canada. Right after that, we'll be in Shanghai, China. And right after that, we'll have another 4 days retreat in Cartagena, Colombia. So we're trying to visit. I hope some of these places is nearby to the person who has the question.
And it's important to remember, these are not mandatory, of course, to graduate, not from the certificate or the master's degree. So you can attend none or 10 a year. It's up to
Absolutely.
you.
This is on top of the community that's being formed throughout the certificate program or the master's degree, throughout the live Zoom webinars that we're holding, throughout the participation of every student in the alumni and business club right from the minute that they enroll. And many of the activities that are happening there are online. Almost all of the activities are online, apart from the ones that we just mentioned. Why is a degree a prerequisite for the course? It is not. There is no prerequisite for the certificate in happiness studies. There is a prerequisite for the MA in happiness studies, which is a BA in any subject. So there is no prerequisite for the certificate in happiness studies. Is there one certificate for people who want to become trainers versus a different for those who want to plan to become trainers? Or don't plan to become trainers. No, it's the same certificate. Actually, the certificate, when they ask me who is it relevant for, or Tal, maybe you want to elaborate on who is it relevant for, but the short answer is for people who want to be happier or want to help others become happier. So it's for both. And Tal, maybe you want to elaborate about who is it for.
Yeah, please. So yes. So in a nutshell, it's if you want to increase your levels of well-being or you want to help others do the same, then it's for you. Now, what does that mean? We all want to be happier. That's natural as an end in itself. We want those we love, we care about to become happier as an end in itself. And it's also a means towards an end, meaning if you increase levels of well-being, even by a little bit, even if we're talking 3, 4, 5%, creativity and innovation levels go up. You become more productive, more engaged, more energetic. Physically, you become healthier. Your relationships, personal relationships improve. Professionally, teamwork improves. So when you look at all these benefits of increasing levels of happiness, that means that there is a great deal to be gained for managers who study how to increase levels of happiness in themselves and their employees, for teachers, for medical doctors, obviously for therapists and coaches. And we have all of the above and more in our programs. So who is it for? It's basically for anyone who's willing to learn, to put some effort into it, who's interested in becoming happier and who wants to help others do the same.
It's for people. Another question. I'm from Ukraine. I was a psychologist there. Now I'm in Florida. I want to continue my job here in the US. Is the diploma from the university enough to work here with clients in the cabinet? Actually, we have a lot of students from Ukraine, and we have, I don't know, a few that are from Ukraine and living in Florida. But if you want, you can send me an email afterwards and I'll hook you up with them. One of the, can I say the name of one of the students, or is this, I don't think so. Yeah. You know who well, never mind. So, definitely, yes. The answer is absolutely yes. This is what our students are doing. This is exactly part of the reason that we're doing what we're doing is because we want people to pay it forward. We want people to work in the field. Either if they're taking the certificate program, so they're conducting workshops and seminars and webinars and writing books and lecturing and going on stage, and we're helping them do all that, or whether they are MA students going for research and chief happiness officers and well-being managers in corporations, NGOs, governmental institutions, all of the above. So absolutely, yes, this is why we're here for. This is what we want to do.
Yeah, if the question is about being certified by the state of Florida, because in the US to call yourself a therapist, you need to be certified by your state, then the answer is no. We do not certify therapists. However, we do have many therapists who are taking our courses. And what we inevitably find is that it simply improves the quality of therapy. And again,
this is like a toolbox. This is like a toolbox added to your set of tools. You have more tools now in your set, and you can use them as well.
Yuval, how about we take a live question because we have a hand up?
Go ahead.
So, Lydia, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you. Hello. I really listened to your answer. Thank you. And I understand that you don't help without certificate, but you help with like toolbox. And for me is, I want to start this work here. I arrived to United States in January. I have C1 in English. I have accent, but grammar and vocabulary is enough. Yeah, so I passed the test. And I want to apply some university, to start my career here. I'm mom of 4 kids, and I'm here with my husband and the whole family. And I'm interested in continue my career here. And I need your help. Yeah, if you can contact me after this, I gave my phone number and email, and we can discuss it. How your university can help me to do this start, a quick start. Yeah, I willingly listen to every options. Yeah.
Great. We will do just that, Lydia. You know, actually today, it was we have, as part of the Happiness Studies Academy, we have a business and alumni club. This is an initiative that is 100% created by the students. So we had nothing to do with it. But what they created was this business and alumni club, through which they support one another. Now, after it was created, we of course will, and do support it in any way, shape, or form that they need. But it's about helping each other. For example, starting a business in the field of happiness. If they have a challenge as a as a therapist, they reach out to members of the community, and it's a very big and supportive group of like-minded and, no less importantly, like-hearted individuals.
Yeah, it's nice. But as far as I understood, I need to get the certificate as to be a psychologist here, but
Yes.
your diploma is enough to be a coach.
Again, in the United States, you can call yourself a coach. You don't need to get certified by the ICF to call yourself a coach. Anyone can do it. The question is, do you have the tools and the methods and the know-how? And if you have that, then
That I can. But in your university, yeah, I want to apply to join some group, because my English was like I studied it in Ukraine just for myself, like to read books, to listen to some lectures. But at your university, I hope I make it more proficient language.
You will get that, no question, and you'll have fun doing it.
Yeah, and I also have a question. For example, English is not my native language. Do you have something, like curators, the person who can help me if I don't understand at all the book or something? If the language is really more difficult than I appeared. No, I can't work only with translator all the time. Something like this.
Yeah.
Mentor. Yeah. Thank you, mentor. Yeah.
The degree is or the certificate is offered in 6 different languages.
But
Ukrainian
Russian, no.
or Russian, it's
no.
not
Maybe
yet.
you need some teachers.
Not yet.
I'm looking for the job.
However, as I mentioned, the community itself provides help. We have many students from Ukraine. We have many students from Russia, and they have formed a very supportive group, of course, during these difficult times, but also before, to help one another, sometimes with language, but rarely, because generally the language is accessible, and from what I can hear, you'll have no problem with that.
Okay, yeah, I also want to ask, is this the same level as you talk? If it's the same, it's enough for me.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last question. The studying is about 1 year, and Daddy, help please. And you told that you have some meetings in Europe and also in United States too, because I'm interested to meet some people like in person. You have this group meeting in United States.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
often.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. I like meeting
And,
people.
and also a lot of our students are in Florida. Also, I know they're getting together.
Okay.
Regularly.
And just to add to what Tal said before, with the community helping each other, for give you an example, what happened, the last thing that happened now in the chat just today of the students group, one of the students were asking that they're conducting some sort of workshop and they need a ice-breaking activity for the students. So yeah, any ideas? And he got like 100 ideas from the community, and there was a big discussion. It's happening all the time. It's just an example from the last thing that happened. But this is how it goes.
That's nice.
Thank you,
yeah, and the last question: do you have like the fixed hours during the week which I need for studying? For example, 2 hours lectures and 4 hours for homework, just approximately.
Altogether, you need to secure between 2 to 4 hours a week that you will probably need to go through with the certificate program. Those hours are at your own pace and at your own choice. There's pre-recorded lectures and exercises that you can do throughout the week whenever it's convenient for you. And there is the live one, I said 1 hour before, it's 1.5 hours of lecture that is live. If you don't have time to watch it, it is recorded and you can always go back and watch it again. It's always recorded and it's uploaded to the learning management system, and you will find all your materials there, including the lecture that you might miss.
Okay, 4, 5, 6 hours, I count.
I would say between 2 to 4, 3.5 hours, something.
And plus homework.
Including the homework.
Include. Oh, okay, that's good hours.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Now, thank you. I got everything.
Thank you, Lydia.
Mhm.
Another question in the chat was, is a certificate focused on the corporate world or not necessarily? Yes and no. Not necessarily, and yes, also to the corporate world. Personal, corporate, you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. So, basically the certificate focuses on what you want to focus on. So every week there is a material. So let's say this week we're talking about looking at your work as a job or a career, looking at your work as a job or as a career or as a calling. Now, you obviously can take it to the corporate world. This is where the research comes from to some extent. At the same time, you can take it to parenting, because you can parent as a job, a career, as a calling. At the same time, it's very relevant to the work of a therapist, because so often, or a coach, because so often your client will come to you experiencing this existential vacuum that we discussed. It's relevant for any profession. It's relevant for one's personal life as well. And the question is what you choose to focus on. So in fact, we have students who've been with us who joined 4 years ago. And often they go through the course a second time, because once you have access to this material, as Yuval mentioned in the video, you have access to it for life. So they go through it, and the first time they go through it, they just go through it because they want to become happier. The second time they go through it is more as a manager or as a leader in an organization. And each time they get different things, related, of course, but different ideas that they can apply. So the question is, where is your focus?
Or they choose to drill down in one of the subjects that they care most about. It can be the corporate world, for example. So they can drill down on that, because the exercises are built in 3 depth categories. To go through the certificate, to get the certificate, you need to go through the first category, which is called GEM, good enough mark. Then you have the GEM Plus and the GEM Plus Plus. And this is really, as I said in the video, a comprehensive bibliography about happiness, with all the research and materials and videos and readings and books that you can find out there today. And you can drill down to any of those subjects. You cannot do that throughout the week of the year that you go through. You cannot do the entire GEM Plus and GEM Plus Plus. If you drill down, you will. And all of those materials, of course, are open for you for life. Always. You can always go back for that. Before I said that there's 2 advantages to enroll now. The first was that you will get the discount, but it's not just that. Those live webinars that we're mentioning, actually, whoever enrolls to the program, whenever they enroll to the program, you don't have to wait till June 6th to start the certificate program. To get the exercises and pre-recorded lectures, yes, you will wait for June 6th and you will start together with your course. But you will already be invited coming next Thursday to the live webinars with the entire community right now. So whenever you join, you start the journey with us. And June 6th, you will start your educational material, in addition to the live webinars that you will get right now from enrolling. Is the certificate a prerequisite for the master's degree? Again, no. The certificate is not a prerequisite for the master's degree. Actually, the certificate is a derivative of the master's degree. The certificate is included within the master's degree. The certificate is 2 courses. The master's degree is 8 courses, and those 2 courses are part of the 8 courses that the master holds. So the certificate is a derivative of the master's. You can take the certificate, you can take the master's, you don't need to take one in order to take the other. The only prerequisite for the master's degree is a BA degree. Where are you located? Tal, you're located in New Jersey now, although you have a virtual background, so I'm not really sure.
I'm in New Jersey for the next 3 hours, then I'll be in Europe.
Okay. Tal, as I said before, is traveling quite a lot. HSA Happiness Studies Academy has offices in New Jersey, Brazil, Mexico, Australia. We are located, but we are an online educational programs company. So the online is the emphasis here. And really, we have students now from more than 85 countries. Literally, it's not a marketing, we have students from 85 countries. I can name the countries. Only in the last retreat that we held in Lake Como, Italy, was a month and a half ago. We had students from 35 countries arriving physically in person, meeting us in Lake Como from 35 countries. So this is where we're actually really located. How does the certificate teach to train others? Tal.
Yeah. The best way to learn is to teach. So what we encourage, very much encourage our students to do, is to take this material and share it with their family members, or share it with their colleagues at work. Moreover, within the Happiness Studies Academy Business and Alumni Club, many groups are formed around teaching. Moreover, a new group was formed just over the past couple of weeks. A new group was formed around writing books. So all those interested in writing books are actually now have a support group. And we know from research that if you have an accountability buddy, a support group, it increases the likelihood that you will succeed by not 5 or 10%, by a few 100%, around 200-300%. So we have all these groups that where you where you teach one another and experiment with teaching, so that you feel more comfortable when you do it at work. But regardless, we constantly have exercises and direct learnings, tools and techniques that will help you teach that material, because it's so important.
Now, once we signed up for the course, what are the requirements to graduate from the course and to get the certificate? The requirements are to go through week by week, pre-recorded lectures, watch the lectures, week by week, do the exercises and the assignments, again, 2 to 3 hours, about 3 hours a week altogether. And those are only the exercises of, as I mentioned before, the GEM, which is the first level of exercises. Once the year gone by and you went week by week in the entire lectures and exercises, eventually you will get the certificate. Yes, online, and also in a very vibrant, I would say, ceremony in person in one of our retreats whenever you decide to join us. If we take the certificate program and we decide, that's a great question. If we take the certificate program and we decide to take the master's program after, is there a discount? Is a lot of information similar? How long is the master's program? So the certificate program is a year-long program. The master's degree is a little less than 2 years. So, and it's taken in a more condensed, I would say, pace. it takes more hours a week to take the master's degree. It's not a discount, it's more than a discount. Whatever you paid for the certificate will be deducted from the price of the master's. It is not, you will not pay twice. If you decide now, I'm not sure about the master's, I'm not sure about HSA, I'm not sure about your content, you can take the certificate program, start off with the certificate, and then decide if you want to move on to the master's or not. You can do that in the middle of your certificate program or in the end of your certificate, whenever you want. We have a solution for all of those situations, and you will not pay twice. Whatever you paid for the certificate will be fully deducted from the price you paid for the master's. I had another one. I had the same question. It's the same answer for the same question. It's always the same answer. There is someone reminded me here about the mentorship program that we're having, because there was a question before also live about someone that will take you through the program and will help you maybe even with language, and not just with language, also with the material. Every student that chooses to and joins our program is assigned to a mentor. This is one of our graduates. And they are walking you through the certificate program in any of the aspects that you choose. This is a group of people that are learning together, moving along together. Usually we try to assign mentors from the same language and from the same maybe vicinity, geographical location. So you have that as well. If you choose to, you don't have to have a mentor. May I ask how many people a study cohort usually? You can ask everything. I don't know what you're about to ask. The answer is yes, you can ask. May I ask how many people a study cohort usually comprises with regards to the certificate and the MA program respectively? So the certificate program is open 3 times a year, February, June, and October. Every cohort is between 100 to 200 new students. Depending how convincing I am in this webinar. Hopefully you will join us and we'll have more and the community will grow. Regarding the master's degree, so far this is new. You know, the certificate program is the 16th cohort, 1/6. The master's degree we will open in August, 3 months from now, and it will be the second cohort. The first cohort opened in October 2022. So August 2023 is the second cohort. So I don't know how many students we're going to have in the master's degree in the second cohort. I know how many we have in the first cohort. We have 100 students join us in October 2022. Again, you can ask everything. Everything is fully open. Regarding the cost, the cost of the program is $3,900 US. You can pay it in one payment, or you can pay 10 installments of $390. In this next 48 hours for the participants of this webinar, you have a $500 discount if you use the code LIVE500. This will work both for one-time payment or for if you choose to use 10 payments. This is a one-time payment or 10 payments for your entire life. You get the materials of the certificate, you get the community, and way after the year ends, you get invites to the live webinars with Tal forever. And of course, access to the community and all the other material that we mentioned by the alumni and business club and the retreats and get-togethers. All that always happens. What are the dates and cost of the certificate program? Since it's an online program with a weekly structure, then you can go through the dates whenever you want. Usually the live webinars are held on Thursdays at the hour. Tal, you can help me. It's 1 hour. It's 1 week it's convenient for half the globe, while the other week it's convenient for the other half of the globe.
So it's
again, to serve students from all over the world. Tal, can you mention the hours?
Yeah, so it's 1 week it's 8 a.m. Eastern,
EST. Yeah.
New York time. And the following week is 2 p.m. Eastern.
So the Europeans, the middle of the entire middle of the globe, as if the globe has a middle, actually enjoy both webinars as a convenient hour for them. Not in the middle of the night, at least. Is it possible for some participants who are only interested for the first part of the class, semester A, for a different fee? We don't like it, although we allow it. So you can write me later, and always any of your questions, by the way, if we cannot, if we'll not get to them here, then you can write to info@happinessstudies.academy, and we will take care of specific needs like this need. It's doable. I will explain to you in email why I think you should. I don't know. We'll discuss it, but again, it's doable. Where are you located? Same question, so it's the same answer. I answered that before. Can we take the certificate program faster? Does it have to take the whole year? The answer is yes, it needs to take the whole year. We take it week by week, and there is a pedagogical answer to that. Maybe Tal, you want to elaborate a little bit about the exercises and the way that it needs to sink in?
Yeah. So I will in a second, but before I do, you asked how many hours you invest per week. So generally it's about 3 hours, 2 to 4 hours. However, there's a lot of flexibility around that, meaning if there's a week that you're traveling, and you can't put in the work, that's okay. In the certificate, in the master's program, you have to adhere to the pace of the program. But in the certificate program, we have, many of our students have done it in a year exactly, but others have done it in 15 months or even in 2 years, either because they didn't have enough time or because they wanted to spend much more time. And this is where I get to the exercises. The exercises are a critical part of the program. You don't learn to play the piano by reading a book or watching a lecture on playing piano. You don't learn to play tennis by reading a book or by watching a lecture on tennis. You learn by doing, by exercising. Happiness is a skill. Just to read a book, just to listen to a lecture in and of itself is not enough, no matter how great the book is or the lecturer is. You need to put in that work. And this is why we have the certificate program or the master's degree, because it's an opportunity for you to learn the theory. Of course, that's important. To learn the research, to be able to articulate it, and no less important, arguably more important, than to engage in the exercises, to go through them day in and day out. And just like you become a better tennis player, you become happier. Just like you become a better pianist through exercise, you become more resilient through exercise.
I'm moving along with the questions here from the chat. Please discuss the MA. Does it include the thesis? I can discuss the MA for hours. I would ask you to write me. Any one of you is interested in the MA and want to hear more of that, please write me an email to info@happinessstudies.academy and ask all of the questions there.
And in fact, Dorit asked, will there be a webinar dedicated to the MA program? And the answer is yes. Yes. We will have it. You will get information about it, and there we'll talk specifically about what each class includes, the time commitment, which is more than 2 to 3 or 4 hours a week, and what you will learn and get from it. So to be discussed. Thanks. TBD.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another question that I got a private question that I didn't answer, so I can ask it here. Do you have students from Pakistan? I'm in a different room now in the office, and there is another room in the office with a huge map with pins on the wall. So I really wanted to look up if I have students from Pakistan. I guess yes, and it's an educated guess. It's not really say yes.
Yuval,
yeah. Okay, you know one in person. Okay, so I wasn't sure, but now I am. So Tal said it. Yes, we have students from Pakistan. We have from 85 countries, so it's hard
And
to make.
you know how I know about it? So I used to play squash. I was a professional squash player, and the best players in the world were from Pakistan. So we actually know the same people.
Okay.
So
Uh, may I add how many people study a cohort? So we talked about that. I'm looking for more if I missed something. So if it's 400 for the next 48 hours, the answer is yes, $500 discount. Okay. This course is just for master's degree. No. This is the certificate program. This is not for the master's degree. We're talking about the certificate program, the year-long program that's been running for the past 6 years with that huge, vibrant community. Can you please give us an example of an exercise? This is a great question, Tal. Example of an exercise.
okay. So let me give you an example of an exercise related to what I just talked about earlier. Meaning, finding meaning and purpose. So very often in the workplace, there is an exercise that employees are asked to do, which is to write their job description. What do you actually do day to day? Now, there's a lot of value to this. It's important. Why is it important? Because you actually get to understand, evaluate what you're doing, maybe improve it, maybe tweak it. If there is someone else coming into your position, they'll know what to do. So there are many benefits to writing a job description. What we do in our program, not negating the value of writing a job description, we write a calling description. So you get to, and by the way, this is an exercise that I do with my corporate clients as well. You get to think about, what is it about what I do? And again, whether you're a therapist or you're a business woman or you are a medical doctor or a school teacher or a parent, what is it in what I do that's meaningful, that's important? And what this very simple exercise does is it gets you to focus on the meaningful, purposeful elements of your day-to-day. Just this exercise elevates your levels of awareness. Just this exercise increases both your experience and your performance.
Now there's a hand up. Maybe you'll take that.
Maria, share with us.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. I had a lot of questions, but most of all you answered already. And, I would like to use this opportunity and to say you many, many thanks. I'm from Ukraine, and now because of the war, I'm in Prague. And I understand how it's important to think and to be happy and to share it with people, with family. My husband, he is a military, he is in the war right now. And I know that when he come back, I will learn with him how to be happy after this war. And now I'm going through program Resilience 2.0. Tal, thank you very, very much for it. It's very important for us now. Maybe, in some difficult moment, I see your interview, your lecture again, and it makes me more power. It may give me power really, and I understand why I'm here and what will I do when I come back to my city, to Kiev, to my country, and how I will rebuild not only our country, how we will rebuild our people, our mentally, because we understand that we will come back in absolutely different country. We will come back and we will meet with absolutely different people. And maybe even we will meet with absolutely different husbands, because now we have absolutely different reality. And that's why I want to say you many, many thanks for your job, for your work, for your supporting, for what you really do for us. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm so happy that I really have such opportunity to say you such words. And now, after this presentation, I understood that I really want to go to this program. My dream to go to master, but I will do it a little bit later. And as I understand from your answer, I'm already want to say about my question. As I understand, I can pay partly every month. Yes.
Correct.
Okay, because for me it's very important. I will pay from Ukraine. Now we have some limits for payment, and that's why it's important for me. And maybe I have already all answers from you. I just wanna say that you really could explain us in so many details, and thank you. And after your presentation, I'm so inspired, yes. And I understood that I would like to share, I would like to learn more, and I would like to share with this news with my people, with my family, because it's when we understand why we are here, we will do everything to achieve what we really want. Of course, I'm afraid about my English, because now I understand almost everything you've said during this presentation, but as I understand from your words, I will help if I need something from your mentors. Yeah. Yes. Am I right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay. It was the last point to my yes. I will go. Thank you very much. I repeat it again, but it's very important for us now just to understand that we are not alone, and it's very important to understand why I want to live, why I want more in my life, and what I can do for my child, and what I can do for people around me. So thank you very, very much for your job.
Thank you, Maria. And what you described is very much captures what the happiness studies is about. So many are not familiar. We helped one of our students create a program which she called Resilience 2.0, which is now offered for free for anyone interested in Ukraine. And the way it was created was, she came up with the initiative, with the idea. And as I said, we're here to help, to support. And we helped her create it. And now it's having an impact on tens of thousands of soon to be much more of people who are going through it, developing more resilience, a better ability to deal with the challenges that they're facing. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tal mentioned the word impact just now, and this is, I think, the most important word. And maybe with that, we will end this webinar. When we created the Happiness Studies Academy, when we thought about it, when we founded it, we started with a document about who we want to be and what we want to do and what we want to say. And the word impact was the word that echoed the most throughout anything that we discussed and throughout anything that we wrote. We are trying to make an impact. We are here to make an impact. We want to change and make the world in our small corner, in a humble way, a little bit better. And this is why when we discuss, should we do online educational program, or should we do in-person educational program, or should we, have a physical center somewhere that we would. There's many questions that come to mind, and we decided on the online. All the decisions that we're making are in the perspective of what will make the biggest impact on the world. Where can we really make a difference?
Yeah.
And that is, we just got one example. And from the letters that we're getting from students, we have individual examples and collective examples. And this is why we do what we do. So thank you.
Thank you, Yuval. And I will end along similar lines. Today's conversation where we started was around meaning and purpose. And Yuval talks about impact, that's what gives us meaning and purpose. It's, you participating in our programs, and you then spreading happiness, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your workplace, whether it's in your country or the world. So thank you for joining us and for helping us, hopefully together, to pursue higher levels of meaning and purpose.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for participating, and hope to see you with us. And I know that some of you are going to be my new friends in the coming year. I'm very happy about that. Thank you so much for your time.
Tal is the master teacher of happiness.
I think he's so brilliant and wise and kind and humble. Everything that Tal teaches is based in science, that it's very interdisciplinary. And I love the fact that we draw on economics and science and psychology and literature and art and just everything as the holistic approach, and everything is interconnected.
You gave me this evidence-based, science-based tool, and I'm always grateful to you. Wherever you go, I'm going to follow you. That's it. You're not ever going to get rid of me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. California, Mexico, China, Greece, Paris, Singapore, Indonesia, Ireland, Toronto, Argentina. Wow, that's amazing. HSA is not a certificate program. HSA is a community.
I signed up for the material, and the teacher, obviously world renowned and wonderful. What I didn't realize is that I was going to get a community that is so wonderful. There are people from all parts of the world, and it just makes for such a rich conversation. And of course, events like this where we get to meet in person just really solidifies that the community is made up of like-minded individuals, professionals within their own fields that are leaders and want to take this material that we're learning and spread it with the rest of the world. And the friendships made are what makes us all happier in the end.
When you find a community of people who want to live purposeful lives, then it just amplifies the experience that we're all here to share together.